the southwest corner of Utah and northern Arizona, Nevada. And we just rescue rental cars and overlanders and people who rent side by side. So we got a call for a half-ton Chevy truck that is stuck on Boulder Mountain. Last fall of 2019, it slid off the road.
We got a call for a broken razor that is stuck in Rattlesnake, and we're gonna go get it.
For years, millions of fans have tuned into Matt's off-road recovery to watch a man with an unshakable smile and a heart of gold help stranded drivers out of impossible situations. Whether it was a Jeep stuck in the Utah desert or a truck buried in deep mud, Matt Wetzel always showed up. Not just with his signature yellow rope and towing gear, but with kindness, humor, and humility that made viewers feel like they were right there beside him. But behind that confident grin and adventurous spirit, there's a story that most fans never saw. One filled with personal sacrifice, emotional hardship, and moments that would break even the strongest of hearts. Matt's journey didn't begin with fame or fortune. Before YouTube, before the millions of subscribers, and before his rescue crew became internet legends, Matt was just a small-town man trying to make ends meet. He had always loved helping people. That was his nature. But turning that passion into a business was a constant uphill climb. Long days, brutal weather, and endless financial stress took their toll. Yet, Matt kept going because deep down, he believed that his mission wasn't just about rescuing cars. It was about rescuing people's spirits, showing them that no one is ever truly stuck. When Matt's off-road recovery began to take off, it looked like everything had finally fallen into place. His infectious personality drew in millions of views. His team became like family, and fans around the world saw him as the face of selflessness and hard work. But the fame came with its own price, and it was heavier than anyone could have imagined. As the channel grew, so did the expectations, and Matt found himself caught between being a business owner, a father, and a symbol of hope for his fans. The pressure was relentless. Then came the moment that would change everything. In 2021, news broke that Matt was facing serious legal trouble, accused of insurance fraud connected to his towing business. For fans who had seen him as a man of integrity, the headlines felt like a punch to the gut. Overnight, the internet was divided. Some defended him fiercely, believing in his honesty, while others were quick to judge. For Matt, it was a devastating blow, not just to his reputation, but to his spirit. He had built his entire career on trust and goodwill. And now, that foundation was being tested like never before. As the investigation unfolded, Matt stayed mostly silent. He didn't lash out or make dramatic statements. Instead, he kept doing what he always did, helping people. Behind the scenes, though, the emotional toll was immense. His family, friends, and loyal team stood by him, but even they could see the pain in his eyes. It wasn't just about proving his innocence. It was about preserving the belief that good people still exist. That doing the right thing is still worth it, even when the world turns against you. As the days turned into months, the weight of the accusations began to crush Matt from the inside. Every morning, he'd wake up with that same question echoing in his mind. Will people ever trust me again? For a man who had spent his entire life Helping others, being painted as a villain was more painful than any physical burden he'd ever faced. He wasn't just fighting a legal battle. He was fighting to hold on to the very identity that had defined him for decades. Behind the cameras, Matt's world was unraveling. His business faced mounting financial pressure as sponsors hesitated to renew contracts. The endless online chatter filled with harsh words and unfounded assumptions left him and his family emotionally drained. Yet, in the middle of that chaos, something remarkable happened. The people who truly knew Matt, his crew, his family, his fans who had followed him from the very beginning refused to abandon him. They filled the comment section with love and support, writing things like, "Matt, we know your heart. You've helped more people than we can count. Keep your head up." Those words became Matt's lifeline. When the cameras stopped rolling and the doubts crept in, it was the unwavering faith of his supporters that reminded him of who he was. Loretta, his wife, stood by him through every sleepless night. She reminded him that their story wasn't defined by a court case. It was defined by years of integrity, kindness, and the lives he'd changed. His team, too, refused to give up. Instead of walking away, they worked harder, sometimes pulling double shifts, just to keep the business afloat. They knew that Matt would have done the same for them. When the truth finally began to surface, it revealed what many suspected all along, that the so-called fraud was a misunderstanding, a paperwork issue blown out of proportion by bureaucracy and sensational headlines. There was no malice, no intent to deceive, only a man trying to navigate the complicated world of insurance policies while running a small-town recovery business. When the charges were eventually dropped, it wasn't just a legal victory. It was a moment of emotional vindication. Matt could finally breathe again. But the experience changed him. It stripped away the illusion that good deeds always shield you from pain. Matt realized that even the most honest hearts can be misunderstood. That sometimes life tests you not to punish you, but to strengthen your purpose. And for Matt, that purpose became clearer than ever: to continue helping people, not just out of ditches, but out of despair. He came back to YouTube with a renewed sense of humility. His smile was still there, but behind it was a man who had seen darkness and chosen light. Fans noticed the difference immediately. His videos began carrying a deeper message, one about perseverance, resilience, and faith. He wasn't just rescuing vehicles anymore. He was inspiring millions to keep moving forward no matter how stuck life seemed. After the storm settled, Matt found himself standing at a crossroads. He could have quietly faded away, letting the weight of public opinion define him. But that wasn't who he was. Matt had built Matt's off-road recovery on grit, honesty, and heart. The same qualities that had carried him through every muddy trail and near impossible rescue. So, instead of hiding, he turned the camera back on, hit record, and faced his audience with pure vulnerability. When the video went live, fans saw a different side of Matt. There was no dramatic music, no flashy editing, just him sitting in his familiar yellow tow truck, eyes tired but determined. I've made mistakes, he said softly. But I've learned more about faith, family, and forgiveness than I ever thought I would. His voice cracked halfway through, but he didn't edit it out. He wanted people to see the truth, not the internet version of him, but the real Matt. And that moment changed everything. Comments flooded in by the thousands. People from all over the world shared their own stories of struggle, redemption, and unfair judgment. The connection between Matt and his fans grew stronger than ever before. It wasn't just about watching him pull cars out of the sand anymore. It was about watching a man rise from the ashes with humility and strength. That authenticity became the heart of his comeback. Business slowly picked up again. More people began reaching out, not just for vehicle recoveries, but to thank him for being a symbol of hope. Local families stopped by his shop to shake his hand. A few even said that watching his journey helped them get through their own hard times. For Matt, that meant more than any YouTube milestone or viral view count ever could. He realized that his purpose went beyond the fame. It was about reminding others that even when life buries you in doubt, you can dig your way out. His team, Rudy, Ed, and the rest of the crew noticed the change. 2. Matt wasn't just their boss anymore. He was their mentor, their friend, their proof that even the hardest hits can't crush a man who refuses to give up. They began filming more than just recoveries. They showed behind-the-scenes moments of laughter, long drives, and heartfelt talks. The fans loved it. They weren't just watching a show. They were part of a family. But even as life started to feel normal again, Matt couldn't shake off the memories of those dark months. Late at night, when the world was quiet, he'd replay it all. The accusations, the headlines, the fear of losing everything. Yet, instead of bitterness, he felt gratitude. Gratitude for the people who stood by him when it seemed like the whole world had turned away. Gratitude for the lessons that pain had taught him about patience, humility, and faith. He started talking more openly about mental strength and forgiveness, telling fans that strength isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about enduring it with grace. He became a quiet inspiration, not by preaching, but by living. And soon, Matt's off-road recovery wasn't just a YouTube channel anymore. It was a story of resilience that touched millions of hearts. But there was still one more turning point coming. Something that would test Matt's spirit again, but this time in a way no one expected. It wasn't about the law, fame, or reputation. It was about something far deeper. Life, mortality, and the legacy he'd one day leave behind. Just when it seemed like peace had returned to Matt's world, life threw him another curveball, one that cut deeper than any scandal ever could. It began quietly with Ed, the lovable, loyal friend who'd been with Matt through every rescue and every storm. Fans had come to adore Ed's humor, his calm presence, and the way he balanced Matt's energy with his own grounded spirit. But one day, Ed wasn't at the shop. He wasn't out on the trail joking through the radio. He was in a hospital bed, fighting a battle far tougher than any recovery mission. When Matt walked into that hospital room for the first time, the sight nearly broke him. Ed, usually full of life and laughter, lay pale and weak, hooked up to machines. For a moment, Matt just stood there, struggling to find words. Finally, he whispered, "Hey, buddy. We've got a lot of cars still stuck out there. You can't quit on me yet." Ed smiled faintly. That same smile that had carried them through countless long days, and simply said, "You'll manage, Matt. You always do." That visit changed Matt. He began filming less, spending more time with Ed, sitting beside his bed, talking about everything and nothing. Old recoveries, long drives, the funny moments fans never saw. Those conversations became sacred, a reminder that no amount of success could ever replace the people who stood beside you when no one else would. When the heartbreaking day came and Ed passed away, the Matt's off-road recovery family, both on screen and off, fell silent. Fans flooded social media with messages of love, shock, and sorrow. Matt didn't post right away. He couldn't. How do you summarize a loss like that in a caption? How do you say goodbye to a man who wasn't just your friend, but your brother in spirit? When he finally did speak, it was through a simple raw video titled, "Thank You, Ed." There were no edits, no music, no dramatic visuals. Just Matt sitting in his tow truck, voice trembling. "I don't have the right words," he said, tears welling up. "But I can tell you this, Ed made me a better man. He made all of us better." Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates just like this.